Recently, we saw you in a mixed martial arts fight taking 2 versus 1.
We had a little bit of an agreement in place where I wasn't allowed to actually slam them down.
You picked it up, you just go, huh, just threw it in the air.
Exactly. I went to spar up at Tom Aspinall's gym. The third week of sparring, one of them just kicked me, broke my nose. And we're driving back after. I'm like, what the am I doing?
What would you say is the hardest thing for you to grow? Was it your chest, delts, back?
It doesn't matter how hard you train it, or how often you use it, or what you put into it, your penis never grows.
Now, what do you think about Leon Edwards? How do you think his fight's going to play out with Belal Muhammad?
I think Leon, the way he's been going the last few years, is why I wanted to win.
Shit, hell, you could have said he's a hometown hero. You Belal, good luck.
Well, that's pretty much, yeah. I will say that. So good luck, Leon Edwards, the other guy.
Oh, it's 15-time world champion, Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MightyCast.
What's going on, guys? Before we get started with the episode with Eddie Hall, one of the strongest men to ever walk this planet, I want you guys to know this podcast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game where you can make picks amongst multiple sports. They got NBA, NFL, well, not yet, soon no, mixed martial arts, Valorant, even CSGO. Now, it's very easy to use. You can do it directly from your phone. All you got to do is go to your app store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MightyCast. They'll match up to $100 to your deposit. They'll let you get in the game. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring this podcast. Now let's get ready for our amazing guest, Eddie the Beast Hall.
Working now, yeah?
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Well, yeah, for some reason I still can't hear you tapping it, but it sounds different though.
Yeah.
Talk. Oh yeah, it's working now. I can hear it.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
It's that Corsair. It's that Corsair, like that muted pop 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 pop. That's what it is.
I just want to see what it looks like. Oh yeah. This is
my
good.
man, like he in a goddamn Star Wars fucking.
Yeah. Like he looks like he's like it looks like he's like piloting the ship.
Shirt and then the ship. Yeah.
I love it. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the MightyCast. And my guest today is one of the strongest men to ever walk the face of the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Eddie the Beast Hall. Eddie, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm loving your setup you got here. It's like, you get the Star Wars shirt on. You got this nice, massive Darth Vader chair. And you're sitting there in that room. I think that's the only thing that's in that room. It's just you, the chair, the computer, and just space.
It's literally a room in the attic that I converted just for it's like one of those scorpion chairs.
Okay.
So it's got like legs on the side. It's literally just a gaming room. So yeah, pretty cool.
That's what's up. I love the setup. I was looking, I was like, this motherfucker, like, he's in a ship flying right now. And it goes well with the Star Wars shirt.
Exactly, yeah. It was very fitting.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. I wanted to pick your brain on a lot of stuff. Recently we saw you in a mixed martial arts fight taking 2 versus 1. And everybody always has this, the stigma. I'm like, oh man, if who could beat a bigger person, with me versus, what's the gentleman's name? Bradley Martin, I'm 150, he's 265, 260, whatever it may be. Now we have you, 360. I don't know where your weight's at right now, taking on 2 gentlemen. How did this come about? And I want to talk about this fight. So how did this fight come about when you got in there with those 2 young gentlemen?
Well, I was training for an MMA fight anyway, so I'd signed to fight up Martin Ford, Brian Shaw, and Mitchell Hooper out in Qatar. And I did 8 months of training, came to February, the fight fell through last minute. And I was left, doing 8 months of training with nothing to show for it. So I had to make a decision to either carry on with the training or go and do something else. And I just didn't. There was like bodybuilding on the cards. There was a few other things. And I thought, I can't do fucking bodybuilding. It's fucking shit. So I continued with the training. I just got back into my strength training, kept doing 2 fight sessions a week, just keeping my toe in. And lo and behold, a couple of Polish guys were apparently, people kept sending me links. They kept calling me out, kept calling me names, kept taking the piss out of me. So I just sent them a little message like, look, guys, just do us a favor, just keep my name out your mouth. We're not even on the same level. And they just came back with, right, let's fight, blah, blah, blah. Just escalated. Next thing I know, I've got a contract under my nose and I'm fighting 200 and whatever they are, 145-pound fighters in a ring. So that's how it happened, basically.
Well, I'll tell you what, the way you threw Homeboy with the powerbomb, he didn't look like he was 145. He looked like he was like 118 pounds. Like, yeah. I was watching, and now I broke down that fight, and the thing that I love about it is that you had an instinct of where you're not going to let them get behind you. You put your back against the cage, and you're like, I want the target in front of me. And I always tell people, when you're in a street fight or you're fighting multiple opponents, the last thing you want them to do is get behind you. It's the same thing. It's an animal instinct. Like bears, when they're being chased by greyhounds, they put their back against a tree or a mound, and they sit there and they just look at the dogs, and it's going to fight. You had the same strategy. Was that what you were thinking about going into the fight, or was it just something natural that just came up?
It was my coach's strategy, actually. I think obviously it's quite a natural thing to do, as you say, but it's my coach. First thing he said is you've got to keep your back against the cage, got to keep them both in view, and just say not let one get in front and behind, because that's just like the most dangerous position to be in, regardless of the size. It was a bit of a ruthless thing to do.
Yeah, and he kept landing those leg kicks. I'm sure they probably didn't do it. It was like they're trying to annoy you to bring you out of the cage. And one of them kept landing the little leg kick. I'm sure it probably didn't hurt you at all. And then once you came outside in the middle of the cage, all hell broke loose. That's when they all started attacking you, and shit just went. It looked like what would happen to a polar bear got a hold of two baby walruses. That's what it looked like, to be honest with you. Like how you just shredded through them. Through them. Like, tell me like what you saw and how the fucking power bomb. What did you just like? Just throw them?
So, in training, we did a lot of picking up and using their body against the other one. We had a little bit of an agreement in place where I wasn't allowed to actually slam them down. So, like, there were no actual power bombs allowed. So I had to do a lot of training of just picking up and letting go.
So you picked up, you just go, just threw it in fucking air.
But the aim was to pick him up and sort of throw him onto the other brother to cause chaos and then follow it up with shots. Didn't quite get that. But if you notice, so I picked one up and sort of let him go in the air. And then if you notice, I go to do exactly the same to the other one. I go to pick him up and throw him, but I couldn't quite get the grip under his stomach. So that plan didn't quite work. But then as I was picking him up, I just spotted little man standing up in the corner of my eye, and I was like, oh yeah, bang. And he just sort of walked on to the shot, which was very silly.
It was well, I think you did it right, because you picked one up, you threw him in the air. That's the funny the funniest part. And now that I know that you weren't intentionally trying to powerbomb him, you just toss him in the air like a bag of potatoes. Then the other one shoots, and you're defending the shot, and then the other one comes up, and you're trying to lift that one up. He comes up, you just go whack like a big ass bear paw across his face. You drop him, and then they stop the fight. They get the one you knocked out of there. Then it was just you versus the other one, and then it was all that she wrote. You passed this guard, you had a beautiful knee ride, and that's all she wrote. So I think you and your coach's game plan worked out pretty damn well.
Yeah, we're quite happy with the game plan. It worked. It wasn't how we thought it was going to go, but it actually worked out better in the end. I think that is to say that fight, it was literally 5 seconds of madness, but it just went viral. It went absolutely everywhere. It couldn't have happened any better, really.
Oh, it caught my eye. That was the first thing. I was super excited. I was like, I am breaking this down. I needed the full video, and my community loved it, and I loved it, so I wanted to get an opportunity to talk to you on the MightyCast. All right.
Did you watch DJ's breakdown? I got to know.
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it. I've checked out the channel, but I didn't see that.
I'll send it to you.
Watch it right now. Okay, watch it right now. It blew up on our channel. DJ's mic cut out because he laughed so hard from the power bomb that hit the mic.
Just cut out. Oh, here we go. Holy shit.
the mic cut out. Yeah, it cut out. So it was amazing.
Yeah, if you get a chance, watch that. What's going on, guys? I'll give you a big heads up. Mighty merch is dropping right now. Season 1 has just dropped. All you got to do is go to the description below. It is shopmighty.com. We have delivered and we listened to the community. You guys have been begging, Mighty, please give us a Void shirt, and we have delivered the Void shirt. And we also got Mighty cap, and we also have the clean dingaling just plain Mighty shirt, and we have some Mighty sweatshirts and the Void sweatshirt as well. So if you guys want to step up your swag game of season 1 of the Mighty merch that's being dropped, go to shopmighty.com or check the link in the description below to get your brand new Mighty merch season 1. Now, I want to go back to the beginning. So you become one of the strongest men in the world. What was like growing up in, in the UK? Did you grow up with a family who was in bodybuilding strength competition, or was it something that you just fell into? Like, walk me through the journey of you navigating through middle school, high school, and then into when you started to do the strongman competition.
So a very athletic family. My mum was a swimming teacher, and she ultimately ended up doing full Ironmans. So my mum was very athletic and, very into a sport. Me and my brothers were all competitive swimmers. 2 of us swam at a national level.
Wow.
And I went on at 10 years of age to win the nationals, set British records. Won the nationals 3 years in a row. I was on what's what they call that the world class potential squad. So I was basically on the junior Olympic team for swimming at 10 to 13 years of age. So I guess the sporting element's always been there, and I've always had the base of being strong from the swimming. 13, a lot of things went wrong at 13, but got expelled from school. I got in trouble with the police a lot, and the swimming element just sort of dive bombed because of drink, drugs, rebellion. It just went out the window, and it took me about 2 years to sort of get my head back together and piece myself back together. And then I started going to the gym because I was expelled from school, so I just spent all my days going to the gym and lifting weights, and that sort of progressed into bodybuilding, and then that progressed into a ridiculous level of strength. And then ultimately, I think I entered the England Strongest Man at 22, first time, won it. UK Strongest Man at 23, won that. And then I ended up at World Strongest Man at 24, sort of top 20 in the world. And then just sort of progressed from that. And at age 29, won the World's Strongest Man. Wow.
So your background is initially just swimming, and then that was the only sport you did in high school. You need to do basketball, football, soccer, obviously in the UK.
I did a little bit of everything, really, but swimming was my main sport. I did a minimum of 15 hours a week swimming.
Damn. 15 hours a week of swimming?
Yeah.
How are your shoulders?
Well, that's why I've got such good mobility and strength in my shoulders. They're fantastic. Yeah.
Gotcha. See, for me, I've always had horrible rotation in my shoulders, but when I swim, it helps. But when my coach say, "Dude, you can't swim," I mean, you're putting 15 hours a week in and swimming, you're just boom, 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 boom. And I'm sure you're doing butterfly, you're doing breaststroke, you're doing all of them, and so the rotation of them is good. But I would say if you're doing that when you're 10 and 13 at a national level, 15 hours a week, that's gonna put some wear and tear in it. Like, have you had any shoulder surgeries, like labrum, rotator cuff, or no?
I had a slight labrum tear in, I think, 2016, and I did that in training to do the world record axle press. So I actually held the world record for the most weight ever lifted above the head in the strongman world. So I tore my labrum training for that, but it was only a slight tear, and a cortisone injection sorted it right out, and I've had no real problems with my shoulder since.
Well, God bless you. You got good ass genetics for putting in 15 hours of swimming as a kid and then be able to go into strongman and not have any major, I guess you say, shoulder, like deep, like not deep, like your shoulders are mobility.
I've got no sort of grinding or tears or ligament, nothing. Like my shoulder health has always been really good, and I always put down my shoulder strength down to my mobility from the swimming, because I've always swam. I didn't stop swimming. I always continued, even my strongman days, I do like even just 1 hour a week, just swimming. And that was to literally help the mobility in my shoulders, my back, my hips, just keep everything flowing. So, and even now, in fight camps especially, I'll swim 4 times a week.
Damn. Good for you, man. A lot of people, they get away from the things like, when they go into mixed martial arts, people who came into the sport of mixed martial arts, they come in wrestling and they kind of leave that wrestling, or not even that. I would say for me, I was a well-rounded athlete. So I did track, basketball, football, not baseball. I hate baseball. I did all the sports. And even to this day, I'll still pick 1 day or 2 days out of the week where it's like, hey, I'm going to play football, just running the routes, using athletic ability, or I'm going to play basketball. Even though I suck at that, I'm still doing the things that I did as a kid, because a lot of people, they'll get away from that. And we see it a lot in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, where they grew up playing all these sports and they go back and play football and they tear their Achilles tendon, or they play basketball, they tear their Achilles tendon. I'm like, that's because you guys have gotten away from that stretchy and that elasticity that you built as a kid, and now it's shortened. So
no, I'm a big believer in that. Yeah, I think if you left something for a long time, it happens to runners a lot, doesn't it? If runners run for 20 years and then have a 10-year break and they get back, their knees are riddled, their ankles are riddled, like they just get injuries after injuries. So you're completely right. It's keeping your toe in. Is the important thing. Yeah,
I like that, keeping the toe in. And it's funny because I had a lot of issues with my labrum, and I've had a tear in my right labrum, and I was getting some bursitis, and I was doing all this stretching and just trying to, move around, and the physical therapist says, well, maybe you should do yoga, because if you lengthen, then you can strengthen it. And I was like, bitch, I'm going to go back to running. I started running again. All the pain went away, because I grew up as a runner. I would run a 1600 and 3200 and cross country. Then once I started running again, pain went away. I mean, the stretching did help, but I felt like once I got back to what my roots were, it kind of just like took care of the bursitis and made my legs a lot stronger. Because I'm a dude who skips leg day. Okay. Obviously, I'm sure you don't. And I want to talk about, like, when you started lifting, was there a program that you went off of, or were you like, I'm going to do chest today, I'm going to do back, I'm going to do biceps? Like, what was the program?
I was pretty lucky because I was only like sort of back end of 14, 15 years of age when I started lifting. And the gym I went to was a massive gym. I had like 6,000 members. And there was a lot of bodybuilders and powerlifters in there. So I was pretty lucky. As soon as I started training with these guys that have been doing it for 20, 30, 40 years, like 40, 50, 60-year-olds, taking me under the wing, training with them daily. And from day one, I had a set regime, legs Monday, chest Tuesday, back Thursday, shoulders Friday, and just working different body parts throughout the week. So I didn't neglect anything from day one. So I was pretty lucky in that respect.
Damn. And what's your favorite like muscle to work? For me, I'm not gonna lie, it's chest and tris, back and bis. Like, I do the whole upper body 1 day a week because I have jiu-jitsu. I do chest, tris, back and bis, and abs, obliques on Monday. And then Tuesday, jiu-jitsu. Wednesday, I try to do some type of form of cardio. I try to swim or run. And then Thursday is jiu-jitsu. Friday is jiu-jitsu open mat. Saturday is I teach wrestling. Sunday is my off day, so I do sauna, cold plunge. Monday, right back to chest, tris, back and bis. What's your favorite, core that you like to do?
Well, at the minute, so I do fight training 4 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and that's ground and standing work. And then I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday weights, and it's legs Monday, chest Tuesday, back Thursday, shoulders Friday. I guess if I was going to pick a like one body part that I just love and it just feels good and I know transfers over to fighting really well, it's back. Like back strength just transfers so well into punching power, into pulling power, into grappling power. So I would say back, and I've always enjoyed that. And obviously having the world record deadlift, makes sense, doesn't it, to be my favorite body part as well.
Gotcha. Okay, let's get to this mixed martial arts training. You keep going back to it. So how long you been training MMA, and where are you training at? Like, let's talk about this.
So I'm training. I started training in July last year.
Okay.
That's when the contract came for Qatar. So I've been doing it since then. And there's a guy in my area called G Oaks and his son, Jake Oaks. His son is the K1 European kickboxing champion. And G Oaks, his dad, is just one of these guys that's done martial arts since he was 15 years of age, and he's 55 now. So what he doesn't know isn't worth knowing. And they just took me under the belt, and I just train with them 4 times a week. It's just me, his dad, and his son. Just head to a private gym and get the training in.
Oh, nice. So you're not with a whole bunch of typically MMA, you want to be. Not you don't want to be, but a lot of guys, they train together, right? It'd be you'd be, 5, 15 other dudes who are all ready getting for a fight, or there you have some guys who are just fans of the sports that we have to call those guys the gym lovers or casuals that train and in mixed martial arts. And so for you, it's just you, the coach, and somebody else, and that's it. You're not around a whole bunch of other people. Yeah,
and that's the way I like it, really. I get really good one-on-one coaching from both of them. And then if I want to do like group session and do sparring, which obviously when you're in camps, that's what you tend to do like once or twice a week, I will go up to a gym, St. Helens, which is like Liverpool way, and train with Tom Aspinall and his crew. So, so I've got, a great array of people around me that I can go and sieve knowledge from.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's working out great. You seem to be healthy. You seem to be enjoying it, right? A lot of people, when they get into mixed martial arts at a later stage in their life, they're like, oh, where do I start? That's the thing I always give people. It's like, where do I start? What's the best base? What's da-da-da? So I think you have an opportunity to have a single coach, and then you can go up the street and train with, one of the best in the world, Tom Aspinall, and like pick his brain, because he's super athletic, I believe. And you're getting the best of both worlds, where a lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's been absolutely phenomenal. I'll say it, I sponsor Tom through Beast Farm, through my protein company as well. So, having Tom accessible like that, it has been like an absolute sort of like godsend, really. And like you say, people like getting it, you don't know how to get into these things. And obviously I've done a little bit of boxing in the past. So coming into this with a boxing stance, with boxing habits. So I remember that I went to spar up at Tom Aspinall's gym with him and some of his boys. And the third week of sparring, one of them just kicked me, just threw a very high head kick, and it just slapped me across my eyebrow, across my nose, big cut here, broke my nose. And that was my third sparring session, and it was just like, and that's when you realize, it's. And I thought to myself after this, I carried on, did more rounds with other people. And we're driving back after. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? This is meant to be fun, And I can't breathe through one nostril, and I'm like, it's fucking horrendous. But you get over those things and you learn, and you do. Once you start, because that was the hardest thing for me. Like, if you're not used to leg kicks, they come out of fucking nowhere. Like they are such an advantage in terms of fighting and street fighting as well. It's just something. When you watch the MMA fights and you're like, it don't look too bad, until you've had one smacked across your head. You have no idea how hard those fucking leg kicks are, because they make punches feel like soft in comparison. So that was hard. That was a hard learning curve. And it definitely made me keep my guard up in the MMA world.
Yeah, I would say, like, when I'm watching fights, it's always the hardest thing, because you never know what the judges are looking at. And people are like, what's scored higher, a leg kick or a punch? Or for me, I would score a leg kick a little higher, depending on how it's landed, because leg kicks demobilize you. Like, it literally hurts, because you're throwing your whole, if the guy is throwing it correctly, he's throwing his whole hip into it. And as you know, as a powerlifter, you can generate so much more power with your hips at full speed than me going yak, right? And there's more weight behind the leg kick as well.
Yeah, no, I can back that up. I mean, obviously I've been in the world of both now, and I've had people like Tom Aspinall kick me through a pad, the thickness of a mattress, and it still felt as though it nearly broke my leg. And to think, like, I would hate someone like Tom, like, just landing like a shin across the side of your head. 100%, you're getting knocked out. I don't care how tough you think you are. Like, those leg kicks are a different level. Like, you can't explain it, can you? Till you've had one.
Yeah, till you felt it. That's like for me when I got into mixed martial arts, because I come from a wrestling background, and when I was in my wrestling stance, and so when somebody kicked me, at the amateur days, I'll just take him down. And then when I started training more with my head coach Matt Hume, he would kick me twice. I'm like, what the fuck? And granted, he's like 170, 175, and he would just dead in my leg, and I can't even walk. And I'm like, dude, like, why don't we just leg kick everybody? He goes, well, it's kind of hard to land a leg kick, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that's always the ultimate goal. But leg kicks do way more damage than, a punch to the face. A lot of people like say, you're crazy, but let somebody kick you. Let somebody kick you twice. Good leg kickers, and it's a wrap.
I would rather you punch me in the face 100 times than take one of your leg kicks. That's the difference, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about, so you're doing your strength training, and you're also doing mixed martial arts training through together. Now, do you think the weight training is sufficient enough to be viable in mixed martial arts, or would you rather be on, like, is your strength training like it was when you do strongman competition, where you're like, for me, I do like beach body muscle, so I'm doing like chest flies, I'm doing dumbbell press, I'm doing tricep extension, I'm doing lat rows and all that stuff, or are you doing a specific lift to cater to the mixed martial arts training that you're doing?
A little bit. Obviously, it's catered around being explosive and being strong for a fighting purpose, but it's always going to have that little bit of, I quite like big shoulders.
Yeah, yeah, keep that looking good.
Of course, So I think I think the inner alpha in all of us just wants that, I could just put a bit of muscle on here, get that bicep a bit bigger, and it's not going to help your fighting career at all, but you do it. So yeah, I'd say 80% is like explosive movements, like power cleans and whatever. I'm just working toward making myself more powerful, more explosive for fighting. And then 20% is, I'll look in the mirror and be like, fucking hell, my shoulders are a bit flat, better do, and I'll pump them for a couple of weeks, get them back up. So yeah, it's a good mix.
Fucking love that. Now let's talk about your diet. What's the biggest, so for me, obviously your diet has to be through the fucking roof. Like how many calories you eat in a day, how much protein, walk me through that, because I feel that's like the biggest thing that a lot of people miss, right? Like I say, abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. I would say it's pretty much with every piece of muscle, is that if you can work out as hard as you want, but if you're not giving your body the right supplements, the right food intake, you're not going to grow. And I've experienced that, recently, is that I've trained, after my last fight, which was May last year, 2023, after I got done, I was like, I'm going to see if I could put some size on. I've always been small, always walked around 142, and I'm going to get to a strict lifting regimen. I'm going to try to eat 7 ounces of protein. I don't know what ounces are in, in your metrics or whatever, but it's like at least I think 50 grams of protein every meal to try to get up to like 150. That's like I want to walk over there, put some muscle on. And it's a fucking lot of work. It is a lot of work. So for you, you're 360. You're training 7 days a week. It's from when you told me 2 days, 2 workouts a day. What is your eating like regimen?
It's pretty cool, actually. So in the strongman days, I would have about 12,500 calories a day.
Whoa, you said 12,500?
12,500, yeah.
How the fuck do you get 12,500 calories a day?
So just huge amounts of food, So like if you had a bowl of porridge for breakfast, I would have a bucket of porridge, and that is the simple math. You just whatever you'd eat times it by 4. You're having a portion. You're having a handful of pasta for your lunch. I'm having 8 handfuls of pasta. It's literally like that. So the diet would usually be about 70% healthy, and by healthy I mean like steak, chicken, rice, pastas, vegetables. And then probably 30% cheesecake. And that's the God's honest truth. And nowadays it's pretty similar. Obviously the amounts are really sort of pulled back, and nowadays I'd say it's like 90% clean, 10% cheesecake.
Why the difference though? Like, so why not 30%? Because I feel now that you're doing more mixed martial arts, you're burning way more calories, right? Like the lifting, the running, the swimming, the wrestling, the kicking, your body is doing way more aerobic style of training than back in the day. You were doing anaerobic where it's like, so why you cut back on the cheesecake and 90% more healthier?
I know. I keep asking myself the same question every day. But well, I'll put it this way. So I did a lot of tests and studies on my body, and one of the studies I did was a carbon dioxide exchange machine. So you put this mask on, and you just sit in a chair like this for 30 minutes, and it can measure how many calories your body burns. So at my biggest, I was 433 pounds.
Damn.
And I would sit in a chair with this machine, and it worked out that if I were to sit in a chair for 10 hours, I would burn 5,500 calories. Just sat on my arse for 10 hours.
Wow.
So even just to be that size, you have to eat. Yeah, well, you have to eat 5,500 calories that's just to maintain. Then you've got to be moving around, going to the gym, everything else. So, I've lost the best part of, it's like 80 pounds thereabouts. And that is the difference. So I just eat like 5,000 calories less, basically. And the gist is I don't need as many calories to sort of just function like that anymore.
Gotcha, because you lost 80 pounds. Okay.
Yeah. I eat more fats now, so I get my energy source more from fats, and I'll only eat carbs to fuel sessions. So I'll only eat carbs before my morning fight session, and I'll only eat carbs right before my strength session, and just after, just to replenish. Other than that, I don't really eat carbs, so it's just like lots of ribeye steaks, chicken thighs, cooked in butter, eggs, lots of dairy, lots of like Greek yogurt, full fat milk, all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's probably less food, but it's more calorie dense. So at the minute I'm having like 7,000 calories a day thereabouts.
Damn.
And that's what I need to take to sort of maintain this weight and have the energy to do the fight and strength training.
Gotcha. Now, were you eating all that amount of calories, at that one point you're eating 12,000 calories a day. Like, how was your digestive system? Like, was your stomach, was there anything that you ate that your stomach was like, dude, Eddie, we're the beast, but we can't be eating this stuff. Like for me, I got SIBO, and that's a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, because my body couldn't digest fructose, because I would come home after training, I would have a banana, I'll have so many different fruits just to give me the calories, and then eventually I got SIBO. So now I try to cut out fruit as much as possible. I try to have a little bit here and there, but for you having so much calories, was there any type of food that you were like, dude, I can't have that, I cut it out?
So I did well, put it this way, a lot of my fats and protein came from peanuts, like peanut butter and cashew nuts and whatever else. And I did a food intolerance test back in 2015. This is when I was doing 12,000 calories a day. And it came back that I was intolerant to peanuts. And,
what the fuck?
And I was absolutely fucking gutted, because I was smashing in like at least a full jar of peanut butter every day, thinking to myself, oh, this is great, good fats, good protein.
Yeah.
And I always thought to myself, why do I take about 7 shits a day?
This is going right through you.
And then I had that test, and I went back to shitting twice a day, and it was just like, you fucking bastard. So yeah, that was one instance. Now I'm very more aware of those sort of things. So, I do a test once a year just to make sure nothing new pops up, because as you know, your body can start resisting stuff.
Yep.
So, I have a good variety of diet, lots of vegetables, lots of fruits, lots of fats, timed carbs, lots of protein. So yeah, it's just like a good variety. And I'm always swapping and changing things. I'll have salmon, I'll have chicken, I'll have pork, I'll have steak. Always swapping the vegetables, always swapping the fruits up. So just making sure your body's got variety, and that way you don't really get any problems.
Yeah, that's right. It's funny you mentioned that your body starts to resist things, or forgets how to digest certain things. Because when I was going through my SIBO testing, they're like, all you can have is chicken with nothing on it, white rice, and that was it. And then you can have egg whites. And I would have to do that for, I think it was 2 weeks straight. It was the same shit every single day. This bland oatmeal, no fruits, nothing at all. And then after I got done with that, they're like, okay, now when you start to eat other foods, it's going to be hard on your system because your system has forgotten how to digest that shit again. And then I was like, are you serious? Like, yep. Like your body will get so used to eating the exact same thing every single day. It becomes so efficient. It's like, oh, this is easy. Then you add something new. It's like, what did you just do? Like we were living a good life. So it's kind of interesting to hear you say like, you're killing the peanut butter. You're fucking loving it. You're having 7 shits a day. Next thing you know, it's like, yeah, you're allergic, Eddie. You can't have that shit where you're like, you motherfuckers. How could you?
I was fucking gutted. Fucking love peanut butter as well. Fucking ruined my life. It's almost to the point it was like, it's not worth living anymore. Can't have peanut butter. It's fucking terrible.
Now, does your wife cook for you? Or do you have a special chef that does all that cooking?
So, I mean, breakfast I always do myself. My wife tends to do my lunch and dinner.
Okay.
And then snacks are easy. You know, snacks are just like yogurts and nuts and whatever else. So pretty, you know, I'm lucky. You know, my wife does my meals for me, but just so good at varietizing them. She'll do, you know, fajitas one night, a chicken curry, a steak and chips. She'll just swap and change it, and it's great because that's exactly what I need.
That's what's up. God bless your wife. It's funny. Once I started on this path of having seven ounces of meat in every single meal, my wife cooks a whole bunch of shit. And next thing you know, I'll run out of protein. And I'm like, man, I'm really hungry. She goes, babe, I love you to death, but my life doesn't consist on where's my next fucking meal. Okay, so you gotta let me know. And I was curious, like, well, you're eating way more calories than I am. I wonder how your wife feels about you eating that much calories and also keeping up with the cooking.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, man, I think she always says she loves it, and is the second you have an argument, that's the first thing that comes off the table.
Fucking food.
You'll be out somewhere and you'll have a little tiff. She'll be like, you can cook your own fucking teeth. Fucking bastard. It's like the worst thing on planet Earth. Like, you got me by the balls every single time. Like, she just knows if I do anything to piss her off, she'll just take some food away. And it's the worst thing. So, yeah, it's got its pros and cons. But,
I fucking love it.
Used against you.
You come home, she goes, cook your own fucking meal. You're like, God damn it. Now,
yeah, I don't even know what I've done. Yeah, half the time.
Oh, I fucking love that. Okay, so you're still training in mixed martial arts now. Do you have any fights coming up right now? Like, I know you just got done with the 2 little gentlemen. You beat them. Now you're just training. Is there anything on the horizon you could talk about, or you're just enjoying the moment of training right now?
I'm actively trying to get someone to lock in me versus Marius Budnotsky.
Okay.
It's just a fight that I think everyone wants to see, myself included. And I think it's going to be one hell of a challenge as well. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say Marius is shit or you know, I'm going to go in there and wipe the floor with him, because the simple fact is I know I'm not going to. He is someone that's got 15 plus years experience. He's still a big, strong guy. His engine, his cardio is insane. And yeah, so I need to get more experience under my belt. So, you know, I'm sort of lining up, I don't know who yet, lining up a couple of warm-up fights, as they say, where I go over to Poland or somewhere in Europe to get those done. But yeah, the ultimate is, and probably where I want to end my career would be me versus Marius, whether that be a 1-match, 2-match, 3-match deal. But yeah, that's something I just want to do it. I just want to test myself. I'm one of these guys that I can't just sit on my hands. I can't just do nothing. I have to keep pushing forward. I have to keep testing myself, challenging myself. And that's, yeah, it's just something that for a few years, it's just kept creeping in. I'm like, now's the time. We've got to do it.
No, I love it. It's, as the more I age, I think we're the same age. You're 36, I'm 37. And I feel, you know, my kids, they ask me like, Dad, you train all the time. And I was like, well, my life's been dedicated to training since I've been, you know, 16 years old. And now, even though I'm 37, I still train like I'm getting ready for a fight. I still eat like I'm getting ready for a fight. Granted, I'm putting way more muscle on it, trying to. And I feel like it's the same thing for you. Like, you grew up swimming, then you jumped into weightlifting, you became the strongest man in the world, and you have all these amazing records. And now you're in this different chapter of your life where you're doing mixed martial arts, and you don't want to stop. You want to keep on challenging yourself. Do you think that just stems from like your childhood of always being in athletic things? Or you're just like, oh, I'm fucking bored. I did the strongman competition. Now I'm going to try to kick somebody's ass MMA.
It's a mixture of both. I think, I've always been athletic, and I think I enjoy being fit and healthy. So I think that's one element. You know, I don't want to turn into a fat slob, because I've seen so many people. I mean, you're the same age as me. Honestly, like most people our age, men and women, most people are just fucking fat slobs.
Yep.
I'm sorry to say it. Most people are.
No, you speaking the truth. It's okay. If people get hurt, hopefully it touches their heart and they go to the gym and not become fat slobs.
I hope so. And yeah, I just don't want to be that guy. You know, I mean, you look at people in the industry that train like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know he's like 77 now.
He still looks fucking good.
I've traveled with him a little bit, and all he does is just every morning just goes and does like a 40-minute blast. Just goes to whatever gym in the hotel and just does a bit of chest, bit of shoulders, bit of back, bit of legs, just does a bit of everything. But look at the guy. You know, he's thriving.
Yeah.
77 years of age. He puts people in the 70s to fucking shame. So that's one element. And then, the second one would be got to keep the mind busy. I think the mental health aspect of it is probably more important in some ways. You know, got to keep your mind busy, whether that be working. You know, I mean, for me at the minute, I'm getting into movies. So whether that be on a set, spending weeks getting movies done, or getting my head buried into a training camp, one or the other. I just got to keep busy.
Now, you mentioned Arnold. He's a big inspiration for me. So who were other inspirations for you when you're coming up in the strongman competition and bodybuilding? Like, who were some of the guys that you looked at and you're like, damn, like, how can I get my delts or my pectorals or my quads that big? Like,
yeah, geez. I mean, there's quite a few. I think obviously Schwarzenegger was probably the first one as a young child watching Terminator. It was like, 5 years old when the Terminator 2 came out, when he walked into that bar with the chest and pecs. That was like one of my earliest childhood memories. And I remember watching the reaction in the room and just be like, everyone's just obsessed with him. I was like, fuck, I want to be that guy. And as you get into as I've gotten into the weightlifting scene, I guess, I mean, I'd say they're idols, but I'd never like want to be them in such a way. I think it's just like everyone's got their obsession.
Yep.
People like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, you know, those guys are just take things to another level, but they do inspire because they just gave it their all and look what they've achieved. People in the industry now, like Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and I guess coming into the strongman world, Marius was one. Marius Podnoski. Jonas Savickas. I wouldn't say he's got anything with Luke's, but just the sheer power and achievement. Brian Shaw. So yeah, I've got quite a few number of heroes and people that have inspired me over the years.
Damn, love that. And what would you say is the hardest thing for you to grow on your body? Was it your chest, delts, back? What was the hardest thing? For me? It's my chest.
It's definitely your penis. It doesn't matter how hard you train it or how often you use it or what you put into it. Your penis never grows.
I was fucking.
You're looking at me. What the fuck?
I was like, the penis.
Yeah. You didn't quite get it.
I didn't get it. I was like, I'm sort of like, huh. He's trying to make that grow. I think Airman's trying to get that thing even bigger. I love that. On a serious note,
it doesn't matter how much you train it just never grows. Not even a fucking millimeter. Trust me, I've measured.
Yeah.
Not even a mil.
Huh. Interesting. Huh. I have to tell my wife that. Like, babe, we're trying to get this penis bigger in the gym. For some reason, it's not happening. Eddie said he's trying for years. And so hasn't grown on him yet. Well, for me, it's always been my chest. I've always tried to get like a massive, massive chest. Obviously, you want to be proportionate, right? But for me, it's like I always want that little shelf at the bottom. And I know genetics plays a big part in it, but people are like, dude, you got to hit that fucking decline bench. You got to hit them dips. You got to hit I'm just like, dog, I hit all that shit and it still won't grow.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. I think as a strongman, I've been pretty lucky. As I say, you probably find if you Google Eddie Hall at my biggest, I was like 433 pounds, and I was like, I'll send you the picture actually, so you can put some context to it. I was literally like a cartoon character. Like my shoulders were like boulders, my traps were just like above my ears. massive chest, massive back, massive legs. Just there was no weaknesses. So I think for myself, though, there wasn't like I wouldn't looked at myself. The other thing I would say is my belly was big, but it was solid. Like they were just, it was just muscle, and people like got this illusion that it's fat. But you know, I've had lots of people like, oh, when's the last time you saw your dick? I'm like, look, buddy. Poke that fucking stomach, and they'll poke, and it's fucking like a rock. And then they're like, "Oh fucking hell!" Like they don't quite realize the thickness of your core and everything, you know. So yeah, there was no weaknesses for me. I think I was, and even now, I think even if I wanted to grow a muscle group, I just zone in on it, and I'll get it massive in no time.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny as we get older, like our cores seem to get thicker. Right, just naturally, it just gets thicker. Like I was talking to my dad, he's up here. My dad's actually from the UK. He grew up in Kent, and so I'm gonna be going to actually London in 2025 to meet my other side of the family that are over in the UK. My uncle, Uncle Steve, he's still there or whatnot. But as we get older, like my dad, he has a little, a belly. He's 64 years old, and I'm like, I gotta have abs all day, and somebody's like, well, your core is always going to get thicker because you have a functional core. It's muscle. You know, you look at a bodybuilder's core. There's a guy who bodybuilds at the gym I train at. He was like, I don't do abs whatsoever. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because I don't want to get thick. I don't want my core to get super thick. And I'm like, so your abs are pretty weak? He goes, pretty much. Like, it's aesthetic. It looks strong, but ideally it's not strong at all.
Yeah, no, I can reinforce that. I know quite a lot of bodybuilders that won't train lower back or abs at all just to get that thin waist. So yeah.
Fuck, Lord, they won't train lower back either?
I think, yeah, honestly, yeah.
Wow. It's always
really shrink it in.
It's so weird. It's like they look strong, but but in hindsight, they're not strong. You know what I mean? Like functionally, they're not strong. Or if you say, hey, I need you to do, 30 medicine ball slams, 30 burpees, 30 this, and then
died.
Yeah, so it's
fucking hell, yeah.
It's always fascinating to see that. Okay, so we got big fights that are in your guys' hometown, not your hometown, but in your side of the world. Tom Aspinall's taking on Curtis Blaydes. You have Leon Edwards taking on Belal Muhammad. How I want to get you've been training with Tom Aspinall. You're into mixed martial arts now. How do you think those two fights are gonna come out? Obviously, Tom Aspinall, your training partner. I believe he's probably the best heavyweight right now. Above, John Jones hasn't been active, right? A lot of people get a little butthurt. Dana White gets butthurt that people are like, there has come a point in time where the champion, which is Tom Aspinall, gets the recognition that he deserves.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not taking anything away from John Jones. John Jones is one of the greatest of all time. When he comes back to the octagon and fights Stipe Miocic, he's going to do great. But right now, the spotlight's on Tom Aspinall. How do you feel that fight's going to play out between him and Curtis Blaydes?
I think Tom will do absolutely fine. I think that Tom's going to have a lot of nerves there because of their last fight.
Yep.
I think was it like 30 seconds into the fight, he blew his knee out. So there's always going to be that nerves there, but he knew what the issue was and he went away and he completely fixed that. I think he was doing like 5K runs twice a day. He was just doing stupid runs.
Jeez.
And his knees were weak. If you're going to throw a kick when you're doing 5K runs, you're going to buckle yourself. And I think that was a big learning curve for Tom quite early on in his career. Yeah. And so he's fixed that, So I think the confidence should be right up there, but I know he's going to be nervous, and Tom will openly admit that. I think nerves are good. If you're not nervous, then you're doing something wrong. You're in the wrong sport, really. So, but yeah, I think Tom will do absolutely fine. I can't see him getting injured again. He's fixed everything that he was doing wrong in the past.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, that could 5K runs twice a day on a big body like that. That's a lot of body to be moving on those knees. Right, I mean,
100%.
Like
I can't run a mile. If I run a mile, I can't walk. Like my knees and hips are just fucked. So yeah.
Well, see, you have swimming though.
Difference, you get heavier. Yeah, exactly.
I do
non-impact.
Yeah, low impact on your body, full body. It's almost like swimming for me is like recovery because all the blood goes to my chest, my legs, my back, my arms, everywhere. Then you do some underwater swimming to work that VO2 max to hold your breath, and exert energy, that's like the best. Like I love running, but if I have to choose one or the other, I'll always choose swimming, just because you have nothing but your mind and the sound of your breathing underwater. When you're running, running's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but the buildup of your knees, your hips, your ankles, the constant, you don't want to run for like, 10 minutes. You want to get a good, nice, long, like cardio burn. So I'll always choose swimming over running.
I've heard a lot of fighters quite recently say that they've started swimming and it's literally transformed the way they feel and fight.
Oh.
So I couldn't recommend it enough for fighters. If you want to get cardio, like swim. Don't batter your body any more than you're doing already. Go do light impact stuff. Yeah,
when I was getting ready for my Rotang fight and I was doing a lot of just stand-up Muay Thai sparring, like I would do the ice barrel for my recovery, sauna, and then I would do a lot of swimming just to get the blood flow back in my legs, and then even treading water, like sitting there treading water and try to get my chest out of the water for like 15 seconds and then drop back down. Just that type. Right. And then I get out of the pool, then I go sparring. I'm like, dude, I feel 1,000 times better than if I were to go run fucking 5 miles and then go spar. It's my knees are fucked.
You've worked your cardio probably more.
Yep.
By doing that. Yeah. So bang on.
Absolutely. Now, what do you think about Leon Edwards? I don't know if you had any opportunity to train with him at all, but I know he's a hometown boy from the UK. How do you think his fight's going to play out with Belal Muhammad?
I mean, look, I'm not expertly fielded to answer that, but I think Leon has definitely propelled, and I think he's on a good trajectory. So the way he's been going the last few years, why wouldn't he win? He's got every chance to.
Shit, hell, you could have said he's a hometown fucking hero. I'm going for my boy Leon Edwards. Fuck you, Belal. Good luck.
That's pretty much I will say it. So good luck, Leon. Good luck, Leon Edwards. Fuck the other guy. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right, Eddie.
What about Paddy? Are you? He's a very divisive guy. I know DJ is probably rooting for Bobby Green in that matchup.
Bobby Green.
But Bobby King Green.
Paddy Pimblett.
So what are your thoughts on Paddy Pimblett? Yeah.
Oh. I mean, when Paddy came onto the scene, I thought he was a breath of fresh air, a little bit, because I feel like sometimes, no disrespect to anyone, I just think sometimes sports need a personality to sort of bring it up a level, get more attention, get more eyes on it. And Paddy definitely did that. So, I like the guy for that reason. He just didn't give a fuck, just said what he thought, did what he wanted. A bit like Conor McGregor, love him or hate him, he has made the sport so much bigger. You can't deny that. So I think Paddy's very similar in that respect.
1,000%. I think that as I've been covering the sport more now, and I've been part of the sport forever, as I'm at this stage in my life, I enjoy the stories of the athletes and their charisma and what their goals are, right? Because there's so many good fighters out in the world, right? Like now that I talk to you and listen to the strongman and you eating all those calories, now I'm more invested in your story because I'm like, okay, here's a guy who's basically achieved everything in strongman, and now he wants to venture into mixed martial arts and he wants to get these fights with Marius. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm invested now. Right, so I was already a fan when you fucking threw homeboy up in the air and you swatted him like a fucking polar bear. Now I'm even more invested because I'm going to see, can you get those fights? How is your transition in mixed martial? How is your growth in mixed martial arts going to go when you fight somebody who's similar to your size? Might not have the same amount of training as you do, or the same dedication, but I'm excited to see it. So there's a story where you go bring it back to Paddy Pimblett, when you bring it back to Conor McGregor. It's like, okay, is Conor McGregor ever going to come back and get ready to fight Michael Chandler? Who knows? How is Paddy Pimblett going to do? What's his career going to be like? Is he still going to be bubbly, or not bubbly, but is he still going to have that charisma going in through his rest of his career? So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, no, bang on. I think when we need the Conor McGregors, we need the Paddy Pimbletts of the world to progress and to inspire people as well. It gets eyes on the sport and it gets people into the sport. So.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, Eddie, Michael, is there anything else you got for my man, the Beast? I'm sure he's got a meal waiting down in the kitchen to feed that body.
No, I would say just talk a little bit about your YouTube. You got 3 million subscribers and you post some great content on there. So kind of how did you become almost like transition from the bodybuilding and stuff to a YouTuber in a lot of ways? Well, how did that happen?
I guess the transition to become a YouTuber, I just saw it as a stepping stone to propel my personality out there. I had a good connection with my fan base on Instagram and Facebook. And I just couldn't quite find the right platform to connect. So started with YouTube and just started enjoying myself, just doing stupid shit, buying stuff that I never thought I'd buy before. Like I bought myself a road legal tank. I've got the world's smallest car. Just having fun.
Yeah, so you got a tank and you got the world's smallest car.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that video up. I want to see your big ass get in that fucking car. But here we go, boys.
Exactly, and shit like that. I just love having fun and sharing those experiences with my fans, and it's a whirlwind. It's been a life changer for me as well. Obviously, the financial side of YouTube has been absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't be where I was today in any aspect if it wasn't for YouTube. So YouTube's been a great platform for me to grow myself as a person, as a personality, and as a brand.
I love that. It's crazy how you see a lot of people transition from athlete. You're still athlete, right? You're still an athlete, but you're more of a personality now on the YouTube side. You look at a guy like Shannon Sharp, who came from American football, and now he's transitioned into this role as a YouTuber where he creates content and does podcasts. And he was like, this is the best, this is the most money I've ever made in my whole entire career by building my brand. And I think you're doing the exact same thing. And I'm following your footsteps to try to build my brand and connect with my fan base and the things that I'm passionate about. So I think you're killing it, with all of the stuff you're doing.
Thank you. And you, mate. Keep it up.
That's what's up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the opportunity for Eddie Hall to let us know where we can find him and support him and be on the lookout for hopefully that next mixed martial arts match. Eddie, this is the opportunity for you to let the fans know where they can find you, baby.
My @ handles on all platforms is @Eddie Hall WSM. Hit me up. Google, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want. I'm there. Thank you. Thank you for following and thanks for the support.
Absolutely. And if you guys have not checked out his last mixed martial arts match, make sure you do yourself a favor, go to his YouTube, watch it, or you can watch mine when I broke down the beast destroying those two little walruses. It's an absolute joy to watch. As I am your host, Demetrious Johnson, that is my guest, Eddie Hall, and my co-host, Michael Wansover. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Mighty Recap. And this part of the episode is basically recap what we just went through with our guest. And our last guest was the beast, Eddie Hall. And let me tell you what, man, what a massive fucking dude. Like, he said his biggest was 464 pounds. 464. That's like what? 3 of me? I think, 150. Yeah, that's like 3 of me. That's fucking, I mean, I guess that's a bad size reference to use because I'm 5'3", 150 pounds. So I don't think that's going to you can adjust it. But I think the interesting thing about talking to Eddie is that his background, he started in swimming. He said he's always been athletic. He's done a little bit of everything, but it was swimming, then him getting expelled from school, going to the gym, lifting weights, putting on the size. And it seems genetically he had the gift to just grow, especially when you're eating 12,000 calories a day. The average American calorie is 2,000 calories a day. He basically just did fucking, you do the math, that's fucking so much more than the average person. That's why he's way bigger than the average person. And I think it's kind of cool that he's transitioned into mixed martial arts, obviously the YouTube, and to pick his brain on him going through that transition in his life from swimming, bodybuilding, mixed martial YouTubing, and now mixed martial arts. And he's also trained with Tom Aspinall, and he has not trained with Leon Edwards, but he's rooting for his hometown guy. But overall, it's just an absolutely amazing gentleman to talk to.
No, he's just a guy that's really cool, and you could see why he has the 3 million YouTube subscribers because he's so easy to listen to and zero ego at all. Like you see a lot of these bodybuilders might be really cocky and, just think I could outlift anyone, kick anyone's ass, but he does not have that personality at all. Like, even when he made the call out for his next fight that he wants, that was maybe the most respectful call out that I've ever seen. There was zero bit of man, I think I'd kick his ass. Like, he knows that he needs to get those reps in MMA, but sounds like he's putting the work in 4 days a week training in MMA. We've obviously only got to see him do that 2-versus-1 bout that a lot of people were kind of making fun of and saying it was rigged or something. That was not rigged. I mean, you do not imagine if you were one of those guys agreeing to just getting hit and thrown like that. Come on, there's no way. That was legit and one of my favorite videos of the year so far. I mean,
yeah, when he got a hold of those guys, that madness, that 30 seconds of madness, that's what I felt. It looked like a polar bear attacking 2 baby walruses. Because and then it makes sense when he grabbed homeboy and threw him, he didn't potentially try to slam him, pick him up and then finish with the slam. He just literally picked him up and just went whack, just threw him in the fucking air and then knocked the guy out. And then after that, and beating up the other guy with knee on belly and the punches, right down the punches. So I think the sky's the limit. I think he has a great personality. I think I would love to see him fight more in mixed martial arts. He has dedication. He's still young. He's only 36 years old. It seems like he's taking care of his body throughout his whole entire career. And that's something that I've been going through lately is, I just love to train. And my children ask me all the time, like, Daddy, why do you train so much? I'm like, well, I've dedicated my life to being the best peak physical shape. And now that I have no fight on the horizon, it's like the next thing is going to be, the jiu-jitsu tournament at the end of August. Then after that, what is it? I spent the last 18 years of my life training for these fights. It's like, okay, I'm going to fight 2 to 3 times a year. So 3 times in a year, I'm going to be the best physical shape that I can be in. Now that I have none of that, it's like you still have that same type of a creature of habit that you still eat good. You still try to sleep fucking good. When you have 3 kids, it's very fucking hard. But you still try to live that same lifestyle. And I feel like Eddie Hall is still doing that to this day. And I'm super sad that he doesn't have 30% cheesecake. Now it's 10% cheesecake and 90% healthy.
Yeah, I love how he admits, I had to mix in the 30%.
That fucking cheesecake.
I wonder if he meant that the 30% was, cheesecake and other sweets, or if he just loves cheesecake so much that it's legitimately the full 30% is just.
I wish I would ask him. I should ask him, what's your favorite cheesecake?
Oh, that would have been good. What's your favorite cheat meal? Because he has to have one of those epic, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson kind of cheat meals. I'd imagine he does.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always find it fascinating. Like some people, their genetic makeup, they can just grow. Right. I'm sure, he's probably dabbled in some type of performance enhancing drugs, which everybody in that line of work has, or maybe he hasn't. I have no idea. I feel like your body, you genetically are just thicker than me. Right. Like you have bigger
Blaydes.
Shoulders. But look, no definition whatsoever. You want to go. See the difference? See how you see the bicep with the tricep extension, and he just got this big blob, the big block of that
is
Jew power
that is
right
so
there. That's what that is.
Is so not true. I like how you're like no definition. That is definitely. What does this look like, huh?
I see the bicep. I don't see the tricep. Where's the tricep at? Where's the tricep at?
I can't do it that way.
I fucking love it. But you're genetically, you're bigger than me, right? Like your base is bigger than me, and we're roughly the same size. You're 5'2", 5'1".
No, I mean, I'm a couple inches probably taller than you. I'm probably like 5'3" or 5. I'm probably 5'3" or 5'4". Yeah.
I'm 5'3.5".
What? That is a lie. What?
Right? Dude, you're calling my doctor a lie? I'm 5'3.5", dog.
Way too tall. You
said way too fucking
tall. There's no way you're the same height than me. I'm at minimum an inch taller.
You know what? The next time we're fucking together, we're gonna have somebody fucking measure us, all right? And then
I did it.
We'll
I did it with
decide it.
one thing. I'm saying it on camera now. I did it with Henry Cejudo, and the footage never saw the light of day because we did it in. We were in Colombia, and we had the doctor like do our heights, and I was filming it like just for the hell of it, and then the doctor he was so shocked, like, no, that's not right, and she's just telling him like, no, that's right. He's taller than you. Like, he was so stunned.
Oh my! I love that you said the video never saw the light of day. So, well, we're gonna settle that debate next time we see each other. We'll have some measure us, and hey, if you're taller than me, hey, I give it to you, baby. And we got it barefoot on what you're wearing, the big ass platform shoes, and we'll decide this debate. But I think Eddie Hall was also going to talk to him. Like, I've never talked. I think he's the very first time I ever talked to anybody who is a world champion in strongman, an amazing YouTuber. Looking to do some mixed martial arts, and just to hear how many fucking calories he ate in a day is just, I'm so blown away by how many fucking calories. It's just, I'm just in awe of that.
Yeah, and one thing we talked about transitioning this weekend, UFC 304, pretty stacked card. I always love filling out the UK cards with as many UK fighters as possible, which that's obviously why we asked Eddie Hall about the three big names on there. So we don't want to spoil too much of your final predictions or stuff, but I'm going to roll through the card that we got this weekend. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad, obviously great title fight right there that we've been waiting a long time for. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes, which I thought that was an interesting point that you brought up in the conversation. I'm in agreement with you that this feels like an undisputed heavyweight title fight. It might not be, but to me at least it feels that way.
It has to. It has to. And like I said, I love John Jones. I'm a big fan of John Jones. He's on my fucking gold mountain next to my black ass, right? But I still feel that, a lot of people got to understand that when you are the champion of the world, and granted, he is the interim champion of the world. So once John Jones steps into the octagon, our great friend Chael Sonnen of the show, he said that Tom Aspinall is stripped. He is no longer the interim champion of the world. So with that being said, and here's the thing, by law, the interim champion is supposed to fight the champion, which is John Jones. So technically, the Stipe fight versus John Jones has no merit whatsoever. The only merit it has is that Stipe is one of the greatest heavyweights of the UFC, right? Like, I want to say he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. That's just my personal opinion. I think there's a lot of other athletes in the heavyweight division around the world have done more than, like, a Fedor Emelianenko. You look at, I enjoy Krokop's career. Krokop has way better highlights than Steven Miocic, and that could just be from the competition level. But I think the true heavyweight fight that needs to happen, and this is my personal opinion, people might be like, oh, well, DJ, you who cares what you think? This is what I think. I probably just contradicted myself there, but I think it should be John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. There's no reason why. Yes, who knows if Tom Aspinall is going to be around 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, right? But you look at Stipe Miocic, he has a fought. The last time Stipe Miocic has fought was when he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. Since that time, Francis Ngannou has had 2 boxing matches. Since that time, Dustin Poirier has lost 2 world title fights. Since that, I could go down the list of how long it's been since Stipe Miocic has fought. And obviously, Stipe Miocic is doing what he does. He's doing the firefighting. He's saving people's lives. Thank you for your service, Stipe. But when I look at just the facts of like how long it's been since Stipe Miocic has fought, and for him to get the opportunity to fight against John Jones, granted this fight was supposed to happen, but John Jones got injured. It's still like, I just don't like. I just feel that that fight is overshadowing what Tom Aspinall is trying to do in the heavyweight division in the UFC. And I know Stipe Miocic came out and said that he isn't holding back the division, and he's true. He's not holding back the division. John Jones can say, you know what? I'm not going to fight Stipe Miocic. I'm going to fight the best of the world right now, and that is Tom Aspinall. He's a young, hungry lion. He is the interim champion, and how it is supposed to work. The interim champion and the champion are supposed to unify the belts to make it one champion. Highlander rules. There will only be one. And then after that, if Stipe Miocic still is there, they fight, but obviously those two are a lot older. So
But that's the thing too. That's Tom Aspinall has among the shortest average fight times in UFC history. So what if this fight he just and Curtis Blaydes is a tough opponent, great wrestler, all that. But
absolutely,
let's just say that he just demolishes Blaydes, right? Gets through it easily. How foolish will Jon Jones versus Stipe look then? Because it is July, right? And then they don't fight until November. And Aspinall's just sitting there fresh, if he wins in the first, and this is, of course, I'm saying a situation where this might be a war, and I take back what I'm saying, but if that happens because Tom Aspinall has one of the shortest average fight times, then you're especially looking at it like he could have been ready for MSG, and we're instead getting Jon Jones Stipe, so it does feel a little odd for me.
Yeah, it's just like I said, like when I when I go to the gym, I start vibing out with the boys, and we start talking about mixed martial arts. And Tom Aspinall is one of those guys who come up because he is the interim champion of the world. Like, people are more, like, the newer generation are more inclined to knowing who Tom is than Stipe, because Stipe hasn't fought in a very long time in mixed martial arts. And the last time he fought, he got knocked out by Francis. Francis is no longer in the UFC. Francis has been boxing. So it's just something that a lot of people like to talk about. And I think it's something that I'm passionate about too, because I want to see the best fight the best, right? And I think right now the best in that division is Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. And, Stipe, I don't know where he lines up in that, because when was the last time Stipe won a fight in the heavyweight division? Can you please enlighten me on that?
Yeah, so it was Daniel Cormier, August 15th, 2020. So, 4 years ago.
So 4 years ago. So, I mean, 4 years is like, a medical suspension. You bust for TRT or steroids. So 4 years is a long time. It isn't, but I mean, you look at that. Daniel Cormier's fucking retired. So the last person that Stephen Miocic's fought is retired that he has a win over.
And also, just to confirm, shortest average fight time, UFC history. This is every weight class, every year in the history of the company. Shortest average fight time, Tom Aspinall, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So you're telling me if this fight was 2 minutes and 10 seconds, he's going to just sit there all the way until November, and then whatever happens, and then have to wait for the victor? It's crazy.
I don't think he has. I don't think he has a choice. I don't think he has a say so what happens. I mean, that's mixed martial arts. That's how the cookie crumbles. And then even after that, I don't know. I'm excited to see this fight. I'm excited to see Curtis Blaydes versus Tom Aspinall, the rematch. And then we'll, depending on who wins that, it kind of open up the heavyweight division to see what Jon Jones will do next after Stipe versus Jon Jones at MSG November 9th. And, we'll just go from there. But I think all in all, the chat with Eddie Hall was amazing. It's very cool for him to come on here and give us a time. I mean, he's a very, very busy man. He's doing movies now too. He's got the YouTube. He's training for mixed martial arts. I love it. So, boys, if you enjoyed this episode of the Mighty Recap, please do us a favor. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Also, go give Eddie Hall a follow on his Instagram and his YouTube channel. And make sure you guys hit the bell and leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite part of the show is. And let us know who has the better biceps. Okay, just leave a comment down below and who has the better biceps. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That's my co-host, Michael Wansover. And we will see you guys at the next episode of the Mighty Cast.